Earth hours are very symbolic. It's symbolic of the need to conserve resources. And on a lighter note, I think it's also good practice because if we don't do a better job of synchronizing our energy supply vis-a-vis our energy demand, we'll spend a lot of hours in the dark this coming summer. BPI is very serious about climate change. We commissioned a climate change study focusing on Philippine cities and the effect of climate change on Philippine cities. And it was actually quite prescient. That study identified Tacloban as particularly susceptible to typhoons. But if you look at it, and if you look at the effect of Yolanda, that study showed it. Of all the cities in the Philippines, Tacloban was one city that was particularly susceptible to the kind of damage wrought by Yolanda. We do climate change here at multiple levels. At the simple level, at the office, we simply try to reduce our environmental footprint. Simple things like, how we air condition this building, how we recycle paper, how we use power, what we do with our waste. And those are fairly simple things, and it has to do with our own environmental footprint. But probably much more significant than that is what we do as an institution. Because remember, we're a bank, and the primary goal of banks is to, lend money, right? To finance projects, to finance undertakings. The projects we choose to finance, and equally important, the projects we choose not to finance, have considerable environmental impact. Okay? So if, for example, we decide to finance solar energy, all right, that's a big plus. If we decide not to finance a polluting company, that's a big plus. If we decide to finance projects in the provinces vis-a-vis projects in Manila, that's got to help the environment because Manila is too crowded. If we decide to finance certain kinds of industries that because of their nature have positive environmental impact, as opposed to industries that do the opposite, that's a big plus. So dealing with our own individual carbon footprint is one thing, but probably how we allocate resources as a bank has a multiplier effect that far exceeds what we do for our own footprint. I think people underestimate how much they consume in resources every day. If people thought about their consumption of resources and they realize that not all of these resources are inexhaustible, I think they'll be more focused on it. It's one thing to be driven by economics. People don't like to waste money. Okay, but it's another thing to be driven by the thought that, we have 2 or 3 generations ahead of us, our grandchildren, that will have to rely on the same finite resources. It's limited. It's a real issue.